This is CJ Peterson, and my co-host over here is author Michael Scott Clifton. Welcome to Book World, The Great Escape. Today we have a very hot topic that has been the author world and been the buzz of the author world. It's AI in writing, proofreading, pretty much in the author world. And a lot of people have been discussing it. I've seen a lot of things on it, a lot of posts on it, and a lot of things on it. And we're going to actually sit down and talk about it today for about the next 30 minutes on figuring out, do we take it? Do we leave it? Do we use it or do we lose it? There's a lot on this to unpack, and we've got a lot in it. I pulled a couple different posts on my author websites that I'm on and author groups that I'm on. And I think we need to talk about this. There's a lot. There's a lot we need to talk about, Scott. Mike, where do you stand on this, on a couple different things on this?
So I think that AI is a tool.
Mm-hmm.
And like a tool, it's only as good as its user.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's a point, a line in the sand, so to speak, which delineates between using it as a tool, as a creator, as a writer, and using it to do all the content for you with little or no input from the writer. So I do have pretty strong feelings about this, about what constitutes what I would consider the use of AI as an aid to help a writer who is, creating content, creating books, creating their own writing, and one that is using it basically to do all the work for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think, is where I draw the line in the sand. And I think, of course, we're going to talk about that today. And where exactly is this line? When does it cross? That, so to speak.
Elizabeth says, looking forward to this topic. At first, I was unsure because I didn't understand, but my brother, which is in the tech world, calls it a very smart fifth grader. It can do cool stuff, but it can be abused, definitely. I'm going to make a couple points, and then I'm going to actually summarize mine more toward the end. And my points are going to kind of come across as we talk about the different points within the points of the questions that we talked about. One of the questions that I ran across in the post was one that was asked for editors. If disclosed that they used AI to write the book, would they still be interested in helping to edit the book? This was a question posed to editors. Some said no, and they said, here's why. Number one, major publishers have a clause in their contract regarding AI-generated books, human-generated only. I can see that. Number two, the title of author is earned, and this is actually a quote from the author's name is Jackie Stepp, Jaqui is the name. And the reason I'm giving this person, I'm actually spelling and saying the name because it is almost a quote, and it is a very good quote, which is why I'm actually saying their name on here. The title of author is earned through sleepless nights, the struggle of writing itself, self-doubt, intricate plots, emotional exhaustion, etc. It cheapens the immense labor put into actual writing. Authorship is a human craft. When you use a tool to bypass the struggle, you are claiming the title without doing the heavy lifting.
Exactly.
I thought that was worded very well, which is why I wanted to give that author specific credit for the way they worded their answer. Number three, is it used as a prompt? You need to make sure it wasn't pulled from another story. This is my concern big time, because a lot of times the AI pulls stuff from offline. Is it pulled from another story? Are you using plagiarism? Or is it just used as a prompt? Did you use it to just kind of help you out of a rabbit hole? If so, did you just, use it as the idea to pull you out of where you were stuck in a plot buddy? Did you use just as the prompt to say, okay, that's a great idea, and then pull it out? If so, that's great. Somebody put, in my opinion, a writer should have no AI usage rule. I write myself, and I just feel like AI is an insincere way of going about creating something. Totally agree. Okay. Another one put, one author is using AI to organize her thoughts. Sometimes that helps people to put stuff in a certain order, like they put everything in, let the AI organize. That's another way to use it. Another one uses it for organization structure as well. Some flat out say no, never. Some say sure, but if the AI parts were glaring, they would point them out, or it would depend on how it was used, and that would need to be clarified first. Now, specifically, these are for editors. That's what this particular one was, this question was posed to. So that was specifically posed to editors. So again, the one quote that I really liked was from Jackie Stepp, and I thought that was an excellent quote. So let me reread that quote again. The title of author is earned through sleepless nights, the struggle of writing itself, self-doubt, intricate plots, emotional exhaustion, etc. It cheapens the immense labor put into actual writing. Authorship is a human craft. When used as a tool to bypass that struggle, you are claiming the title without doing the heavy lifting. Amazing quote. Loved that quote. 100% behind that quote. Now, second question asked, AI for proofreading and marketing was the question asked. The answer for the first one struck a chord. Proofreading as a no due to it not always catching grammatical errors or grammatical differences due to tone or situation. This next part is one that actually did strike a chord. It also would not be able to give human feedback. To be honest, hadn't thought of that. I love my editor. My editor edits as if she's looking over my shoulder. Many times she slapped my hand, quote unquote, and said, "Why are you doing that?" AI can't do that.
Yet.
As soon as it does, we're going to have a problem. If AI did that to me, we would have a problem. I have actually used AI to make pictures before, but if my AI was that sassy, we'd have a problem.
Right.
Yeah, no. I like the feedback that my human editor gives me. She makes sure to catch different idiosyncrasies that I have in my writing, and she catches I'm famous for my that's, and she caught that. I don't necessarily know that an AI would catch it in that situation if they're looking for grammatical errors. You know what I'm saying? Also, would they catch slang terms? Would they know what they mean? But this person says that they would use it for marketing. Has used it. This next person says they use it for bios, synopses, and queries to meet marketing standards and organize in a way that they hadn't thought of. Also used for research, which has saved months of work. Now, that is a way to use it because it does pull stuff offline. However, well, yeah, because when you go to make like resumes or query letters and stuff, you do use templates that are offline, which we do. So that makes sense. That's a way to use it offline. But that's not actually writing a book. If we're using it in pertains of writing a book, it's not the same thing. They've used it for marketing, for tone and cadence, for strategy and content calendars. This person has used it. It's not infallible as a proofreader, but it's a good first run. They said they've used it for that. Not as a proofreader, but for marketing ideas. So I've used it for marketing strategies, marketing and writing, but I've mostly generated AI writing, AI content, not good. Grammar and research, yes. Used for Grammarly, yes. Autocrit, which I haven't heard of yet. They said it's only about 80% useful, but is horrible about guessing context. So I guess Autocrit isn't good for proofreading for context. Yet. AI is a tool. If used correctly, it can be considerable help. It can find spelling or grammatical errors. Just letting it make a blanket changes to your whole document would be a mistake. Ideas and research, yes. Proofreading, no. Can be used in limited capacity, such as proofreading. AI's incredible capacity when augmented with a human. Can it catch patterns is my question. And again, the feedback of a human and an opinion. So again, the same idea is the fact of, can it catch everything that a human can do?
Right.
I have the issues with that. Can it actually catch everything that a human can do? I don't think so, not yet. And the fact that
I wouldn't think. Depends on your point of view.
That actually scares me.
Yeah.
I've seen that movie. Not comfy with that. I'm a sci-fi geek. I know better.
If you have to rationalize, I think that's a limit on AI, but who knows? About treading that line between what, for example, the use of slang that you mentioned, which would be considered improper English or improper grammar, but it's part of of what the writer actually wanted to write. Mm-hmm. Well, my approach toward our discussion today is going to strictly focus on the creative side of writers that are actually writing a product, not the editing, not the creation of book covers, strictly the act of producing written content as you would have in a book. Mm-hmm. Or a novel. And so, of course, there's so much information out there on AI, but I've basically boiled it down to two aspects, which is generative AI and assistive AI. Now, the difference between the two is pretty stark. There are some lines that are blurred there, but generally, generative AI creates new content, and it creates new content from scratch based on prompts, while assistive AI refines, improves, or supports the content that a writer has already written. What are some examples of generative AI? ChatGPT is probably the biggest one. Gemini, Jasper, assistive AI aids would be Grammarly, Pro Writing Aid, WordTune, and they enhance existing work. And so the generative part of AI basically is creating the content for you. Now, it is true that you have to provide a prompt in order for AI to generate this content, but still it's doing most of the heavy lifting for you, as opposed to assistive AI, which, for example, maybe you're searching for a synonym, maybe you're searching for a phrase, maybe you're searching for a way to rephrase a sentence, but it's the assistive part. Again, generative AI is doing the work for you. Assistive AI is helping you with your work as a writer. Okay, here's some other examples of the difference between generative and assistive AI. Mm-hmm. So generative AI is a content creator. Assistive AI is an editing partner. Generative AI, the input comes from prompts and instructions, whereas the input for assistive AI comes from your draft text. The output for generative AI would be new text ideas and outlines, whereas with assistive AI, it would be suggestions for improvement. With generative AI, the usage would be, and this bears repeating because it comes up again and again, it is creating from scratch. Whereas assistive AI is refining, it's fixing, it's enhancing. And finally, what is the human role in generative AI? The human role would be as the curator, the editor, whereas in assistive AI, the author is the decision maker. So I think it's perfectly okay to use AI to enhance and assist you in writing. Um, and we've been doing that in a smaller sense for years and years because, again, there's been Grammarly's been around, Scrivener, all of these tools, writing programs that authors have used and writers have used for years and years. So I think when the line in the sand for me, going back to what we originally opened the show on, is when the AI tool becomes the creator and the author, the writer, simply becomes the manipulator of what this creator is making for them. That's doing all the heavy lifting. And the creative part that comes from the human mind is being replaced by what AI is producing. Now, you could split hairs and say, okay, well, you still have to direct it in the direction you want. You don't have to. You can edit it yourself. You can give it more AI more specific instructions, et cetera, but it's still doing the work for you. And here's something that we could talk a whole episode on, which I just have a problem with, CJ, and that is this. If you are a writer, you are writing because you have a creative urge in you to produce a book or product that hopefully other people will read. If you have no skill, if you have no ability in that area, why would you want to write a book? Why would you want to produce a novel when that's not in your wheelhouse? Why are you doing it? What's the point? And see, that's another hill I just can't get over. Why are you doing it? In essence, writers like you, like me, thousands and thousands and thousands of others, okay, are being elbowed away and elbowed aside by people with limited talent who have to use a tool like AI to produce a product that otherwise they could not create. And there's the line. If you need help in creating it, as in assisted AI, I think that's perfectly okay. And I've mentioned those examples. If your work is being done for you, 80 to 90% of it, by a programming tool, AI, then why are you doing it? Is it to make money? Is it because you can tell her, hey, everybody, I'm a writer, when you can't actually write? It's not truth in advertising there. And I will say one last thing, and that's this. We need to be very careful what we ask for when it comes to AI, because AI, all of this information that it gets, is all dumped into the same pond, into the same pool. And when you ask things from AI, what it is doing, it is giving you the average of what every content creator has done over the last 10,000 years, since the first caveman crawled out and wrote something on a rock. Over time, what's going to happen is that when you use AI exclusively to do things like writing, the creativity has a downward slope where it just evens out. Everything is averaged. The plot's averaged, the characters are averaged, the twists in the story are averaged. It all looks the same. It all reads the same. It feels the same. It's plain vanilla.
It's also pulled from somewhere.
And I guess in another day and time, we would call that plagiarism.
That part. Yeah, it's also pulled from somewhere. Elizabeth says, I mainly use it for when I write descriptions and want to see what it looks like, so I put it in a generator. Sometimes it takes a few tries, but it's cool to see my descriptions come to life. Super Ruby says, I'm not a fan of AI except spell check and grammar correction. If you need another word, there's such a thing called a thesaurus.
Yep.
Wonderful tool to use when you need a word that you're not quite sure how to use. If you don't know how to spell something, there's this thing called dictionary. It's a really cool tool. Someone said, well, AI is here to stay. You know, you can use it. Someone suggested AI should be clearly labeled in its own category. You know, that's a thing. Maybe make an AI category, Amazon. AI generated books. If people want AI generated books, they can have AI generated books.
Doesn't Amazon already require some sort of notification when you try to publish that it's been AI generated or not? Since I don't do that myself, I've heard that, but I'm not sure if that's true or not.
I don't know. But I did also hear that AI agents are turning down people for using AI. Contracts have AI clauses in them now. Some authors won't work with you. Influencers won't also share some of your contact. Editors won't work with you. Let's see what else. Let's see what other things I've seen on here. Okay. As far as my personal opinion, I'm going to state it now. I wrote it down, but I did put up so I'm going to read it. Wait, let's see. Elizabeth says, yes, Amazon does ask if you use AI to write the book. Good. But do they actually label it on Amazon, Elizabeth? That's my question. They might ask you, but do they label it as an AI written book?
I think they do, but again, I'm not sure about that.
Here's my personal opinion. AI pulls from other authors. Using AI is dangerous, but is also a tool. Using it as prompts for an idea is not necessarily a bad idea. To bounce ideas off of, again, not a bad idea. To pull directly from it, I wouldn't do it. To use different wording, that's what a thesaurus is for. To figure out how to spell something, that's what a dictionary is for. To organize, sure. To market, sure. It's a tool. That's all. I've actually used AI generated pictures for it. However, it was the most frustrating thing to deal with because working with AI can be extremely frustrating. I'm just telling you right now, it is not the most user friendly at times. They can be very infuriating to work with. Just telling you. I'm not sure how others work with them every day. It's up to you how much or often you choose to work with it. I would not write a book to work with it because they are kind of infuriating to work with. To me, nothing replaces the human imagination. I prefer to work with the human imagination. I like writing books. I like working with my own headspace. I like writing the movie that's in my head. All of my books are human generated because my brain goes to some really fun places. I enjoy writing the movie that's in my brain. My readers like the sudden twists and turns that they take. They enjoy the exciting adventures and going on them. There is nothing AI generated in there. It's all me.
That's a
I,
good point. It's a really good point.
It goes and it flows and that's how it works. And the fact that I won't do an AI proofreader because I love my editor. I love the fact that she edits like she's looking over my shoulder, and eventually sometimes she does slap my hand. And I love that about her. She's as feisty as I am. She's caught me a couple of times and said, "I told you not to do that." I love that about my editor. You can't get that from AI. She's my content flow person, and she has a copy editor. And the copy editors just get just as frustrated with me as she does. But that's okay, because that's the human aspect of it. You take humanity out of a book, you take the heart out of a book.
Right.
AI doesn't have a heart. It doesn't have a beating pulse.
And that's why you ask yourself, well, why did you become a writer?
Mm-hmm.
Why did you start writing books? Okay. And it's not easy. I mean, some writers are much more organized than I am. I know you probably are, CJ. It's a it's hard work, but I do it because I enjoy doing it. And if the reason that, and I'm using myself as an example, that I started writing was because I enjoyed the process, I enjoyed the challenge, and I thought I could produce a product that, say, other people would like to read. That's what motivates me to do it. And if you take that away, and I let a AI do the writing for me, it basically has removed the reasons I started writing in the first place, which is in the enjoyment of creating a product.
Mhm.
Again, I don't understand why someone would want to use a tool like AI to do all of the heavy lifting for them, and you're not really part of the process. It's almost like you're just an interested observer standing back and watching it happen. So I write, and of course I don't know about you, CJ, but I haven't gotten rich off it. Uh,
Mhm.
you know, um, it's we're not buying a house in the Bahamas or something like that. But the the process is because I enjoy doing it. That's why I started. And I got to tell you, I'm pretty sure you feel the same way. It seems like cheating when we do the work and we do the heavy lifting, and other people produce a product because they know how to click keys on a keyboard and manipulate the prompts. Now, I will say this, and I've already mentioned it once, but I want to emphasize it again. Using AI as a tool to help you write the content that is original to you, with
Mhm.
spelling, with editing, with grammar, even with prompts. Okay, like you would use, like we used to do with those thesaurus. I got to look up synonyms for this word. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
Uh, and we do, and I'm speaking to me personally, but I think it happens to every author. You do get to a point sometimes where you just can't get that last piece. You can't figure out how to change the phrase or whatever. And asking for some, doing a prompt to get some different phrases or words. That's okay. We've been doing that for years, like I said, with Grammarly, Pro Writing Aid, etc. Been doing that for years.
A name generator. Guess what that
Yeah.
is? Ding, ding, ding. That's an AI. Hello.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You didn't, when you started writing, you did it because you enjoyed doing it. You liked the challenge, and you enjoyed the process.
Yep.
If you take that away, what have you got left?
Mhm.
Why do it?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Why would you do that?
But here's the deal. AI doesn't have a pulse. When you write a book, there's a certain pulse.
Yeah.
First, you got the slowness, and then you've got the heavy. You have to have some sort of cadence. You have to have some sort of pulse, and the reader feels that pulse as they're reading. If you don't have that, you're going to lose your reader. And if the reader can't feel that, remember that no laughter from the writer, no laughter from the reader, no tears from the writer, no tears from the reader. How does an AI generate that? Something to think about.
Right.
All right, folks, that's our debate for the day on the hot topic. We do have somebody watching from North Korea. Howdy, sir or ma'am. I'm not sure which one that one is. But happy to have you joining us today. Next week, we're going to have James Callan joining us, author who is fantasy
He's mysteries. Mysteries. Yeah.
mysteries. Mystery
Mystery
author
killer.
James Callan will be joining us, same time, same sandbox, 4 o'clock. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining us on the hot topic of AI. We'll catch
Bye
you guys
bye.
next week. Bye bye.